Hey everybody, Joyce Loc here from Black Hair Compass, and I'm coming back to you with another video. I have been MIA for a couple weeks now, but I am back. I think this is my 23-month lock update, so I am 1 month away from being 2 years locked, and this video is going to be less about like where my hair is at physically and more so about where my head is at as it relates to my hair. I do want to start out by saying that I will not be cutting or combing out my locks, and I just want to establish that now before I share with you what I'm about to share. But yeah, just know that I'm not cutting my locks. I'm not combing them out. But as of late, I have been really feeling really dissatisfied with my locks. And it's interesting to me that this is happening like basically around the 2-year mark. And my first kind of like knee-jerk response to that was, well, obviously it's like time for me to not have locks anymore. So I was like, I would have never considered combing out my locks just because that would be too much work for me. But I was like, maybe it's time for me to cut my locks because I'm unhappy with them and I'm dissatisfied and I'm basically like really unfulfilled with my locks. I know that one of the main things that was always coming to my mind is that I really miss, like, I don't know that it's fair to say that I missed having loose natural hair, but I felt like I missed seeing my texture. Like, I missed seeing the texture of my hair, and I missed having like really big, huge, puffy hair because that's what my hair looked like before I got locks. And for a while it really felt like I couldn't access the texture of my hair and the way that it looks like in its natural state because it's literally locked away in my locks. And so I was like, maybe I made a mistake with getting locks. I just kind of miss like, because even at the moment, the way that I was even thinking about it was like in the same way that like a relaxer kind of like camouflages your natural texture. I almost felt like I wasn't being able to see and have access to my natural texture because locks kind of like camouflages your texture and kind of takes it away. It doesn't really take it away because it's with a chemical, like you really are like rearranging the bonds of your hair, and so it chemically changes your hair. So I understand that it's different, but I'm saying, at least from my perspective, the end result where it's basically like you choose a hairstyle, whether it be a relaxer or it's locks, and you don't see your natural texture and the natural shape of your hair anymore because of the hairstyle choice that you've made. And so for a while I was like, did I make the wrong choice because I'm missing my texture? Now, with that being said, I also know that, and this is why I can say so firmly at the beginning of the video that I know I won't be cutting or combing out my locks, because I know for me that these feelings are very normal and they're cyclical. I experienced these same feelings when I was actually a loose natural, and I had just recently come off of relaxers actually. And so I had a relaxer for a while, and I just really wasn't happy with my hair. I was unsatisfied, unfulfilled, dissatisfied with it. And so the immediate solution felt like to get a relaxer, and I did that after having been natural for a while. And for the first couple of months I was like really happy with my results, and then eventually I was unhappy with it and realized that the solution of a relaxer wasn't actually solving my problem. In hindsight, what I learned from that is that I really needed to learn what I was doing. What I felt at that point was dissatisfaction with my hair because I was so frustrated with it because I didn't know how to take care of it. And so the solution felt like just get a relaxer, but the real solution was just go through this discomfort as you're learning to care for your hair. And I had my natural hair. I went back to a relaxer. I regretted it, so I grew it out. I cut off the relaxer again, and then that second time, like going through the natural phase, I had the same feeling where I was like, I'm really disappointed and I'm really unfulfilled, but I decided to just push through it, and in long term that was the right choice for me to do. I just really, what that was is like kind of like a discomfort, frustration with not knowing how to take care of my hair. And so I'm sharing all that to say, and this happened even with my relaxer days. Like even when I would have a relaxer, I'd have these moments where I'm like, I'm really unsatisfied with my hair. And so for me, it's to demonstrate that I know that I go through bouts of being dissatisfied with my hair, regardless of what state it's in, whether it's relaxed, whether it's loose natural, whether it's Locs natural. Like, I go through these periods of just not really being happy with my hair. And so that's why I know that for me, it's not the best choice to read into that and then make a drastic decision like cutting off my locks or combing them out. I started to think to myself, what if I decided to either comb out my locks or to cut them? What would I gain? What would I be gaining by going back to being a loose natural? The obvious answer is like, yeah, I'd be able to see my texture again. I'd have access to my hair in its natural state again, and that would be fun. But I thought about, well, when I was a loose natural, I actually really didn't enjoy my hair in its like really shrunken state, because my hair was really long, but it would always look super short because it was so shrunken. And also with it being shrunken, it was more prone to tangling, and so I had so much work to do to keep it detangled. And so then the thing became, well, let me do like kind of like protective styling. So I would always have my hair in braids, not like box braids, but I mean like I would do like 4 large braids and always wear my hair in braid outs. And so I wasn't even really seeing my natural texture. I was seeing my stretched out braid out hair more than I was my natural texture, because I didn't wear it in its shrunken state. So I'm like, even if I went back to being a loose natural, I still wouldn't even really be experiencing my natural texture, because I always did braid outs. You never really saw my natural texture. And on top of that, I didn't really like the look of just like braid out. So what I would do is I would stretch my hair out with blow drying first, and then I would do braid outs, which was a twofold problem. One, because I'm getting away again from seeing my natural texture because now I'm stretching it out with heat, but also because I would do that like every week, every 2 weeks. That's a lot of heat to be applying to your hair, and I hated the fact that I was subjecting my hair to so much heat because it could cause heat damage. So I'm like, even if I went back to being a loose natural and I had access to my, you know, shrunken, really curly texture, I wouldn't even be wearing it that way most of the time, because that's not what I was doing when I was a loose natural. And then the other thing that I asked myself, so I asked myself first, what would I be gaining? And then I asked myself, why did I get locks to begin with? The first thing that I got locks for was for decreased maintenance. And that is something that is an expectation that has held true, and it has come through for me for real. Like, my hair is so much easier to maintain. It's super easy to maintain. And that is a huge weight off my shoulders. I'm not gonna, there are some people that talk about how it could take them like they spend like hours upon hours doing their hair when they were a loose natural. That's not me. It didn't take me that long to do my hair, but it certainly took some time. Like, I remember I would have to always ask my husband, hey, can you watch crews, because I gotta get started on my hair. And because it was like a thing, like it was not an ordeal, but it was like a thing that always took time. And I don't really have situations like that anymore. Like, I wash my hair and that takes about like 20 minutes, but that's it. Like, I don't have anything else that like really consumes my time to the point that it's like it's something that has to be scheduled into my life. Like, I don't have to do that anymore. The other reason that I wanted to get locks is because I missed hang time. When I had a relaxer, obviously when you straighten your hair, you show all of your length because it's straight. And as you continue to get more length, it visibly gets longer and longer. And that's something that I really liked about having a relaxer. But of course, when you go natural and your hair is in a shrunken state, my hair was super long and it was always short, because I had shrunken afro hair like everybody else. And so I got locks for hang time. Ironically, it's the hang time that was also kind of adding to my irritation and frustration with my locks, believe it or not, because it feels like my hair is always in my face, and it's not at a length where I can safely tie it back. And what I mean by that is, a lot of people, like, if they just want to get their locks out of their face like really quick, they'll like pull it back and they'll put like a ponytail around it. That is something that, yeah, you can do it every now and then, but if you make a habit out of doing it, you could potentially weaken your locks exactly where where that hair tie is sitting. So my plan of action for that has always been, when my hair gets long enough, if my hair is like in my face, I'll just like pull it back and braid it down my back so that there's no one particular like pressure point that could cause a weak spot. But my hair is not long enough to do that. So it feels like my hair is always in my face and it's irritating, and it's always on my neck. It's just funny how like it always feels like the grass is greener on the other side, because when I had loose natural hair, my afro would shrink up, so I didn't really have like a lot of hair on my neck. Now that it's in locks, the hair is always on my neck, and because of the way that locks are, and that it's an amalgamation of all of the hair you're shedding, it's a lot of hair. It's a lot of hair on my neck. And so it's interesting that like the reason I got locks is because I wanted hang time, and the reason that I'm irritated with my locks is because I have hang time. It's funny how that worked out that way. But yeah, it's just, and that's another, this is a side note, but it's like as your locks get longer, you just become aware of how much hair you actually have on your head. Because I think that generally speaking, I have a lot of hair, but because I have locks, I have even more hair than I would naturally, because every single strand that I'm shedding is staying in my locks. So I'm carrying around with me a lot of hair. And I guess I'm still in a period where I'm getting used to that, and I'm getting used to this length. The place that I'm at right now is that having this amount of hair on my neck it's annoying and it's irritating. And I think it's just a part of like dealing with all of the different phases of what locks are, and like getting accustomed to it. And so that's probably what I'm needing to do, is just like get used to having my hair, like I said, having hang time and having a lot of hair while having hang time, and just getting accustomed to it. And all that to say, really, the reason that I made this video was not to discourage anyone or to like scare anyone that I'm going to be cutting my locks, but more so to just be like transparent with you guys, and to share that if you're in a situation where you've committed to starting locks and to growing locks, and then you have a moment where you're kind of like not really feeling it and your locks are just not doing it for you, just know that I feel like that's pretty common and normal, and it happens to everybody. It's happening to me right now. That's the spot that I'm in right now, where I'm feeling like I'm dissatisfied with my locks, and it feels like the most obvious solution is to just not have locks anymore. But ultimately, I'm not going to act on that. I'm not going to act on these feelings. I am going to wait it out and see it through, primarily because I know myself. It is normal for me to go through these cyclical bouts, and in the past, when I have acted on that, I have always regretted it later on. And so I know that this is a familiar position for me to be in, and I've learned from past mistakes that acting on the emotions that I'm feeling right now usually doesn't serve me well in the long run. In the short run, it works out, but after a while, I end up regretting my decision. So I will not be cutting or combing out my locks. I've also learned from this that a lot of the time, not always, but even though it feels like the problem is my hair, so what do I do to my hair to fix the problem? The problem is never really my hair. It's usually something else going on in my life, where I'm like, something is stressing me out, whether it's like school or relationship problems or anything. And the easiest thing to kind of take hold of and control and change and manipulate is my hair. And so what it can feel like is you're having other life problems going on, and you're kind of like taking it out on your hair, so to speak. And so that's why I don't want to do that, because I have a feeling that's probably what it is. And so I probably need to do a little bit of praying and ask God to kind of help me to figure out what is going on in my life and what I likely need to bring to Him in prayer, as opposed to trying to fix it by like something superficial, like changing my hair. Because like I said, it can feel really convincing that the problem is your hair, but for me, it's usually not that. So I'm not going to cut my locks. I'm not going to comb them out. I'm not ready to forfeit the convenience and the low maintenance of my locks. Even though I just finished complaining about how the hang time on my neck is irritating, I'm also not willing to give that up quite yet, because it is very fun to see my hair get longer and stretch out as the months go by, and I'm not willing to give that up either. So I'm gonna wait it out. But as always, if you guys have similar experiences where you've committed to locks, but you're like, I'm not feeling it, and you decided to wait it through, let us know what your experiences have been like in the comment section below. And conversely, if you're someone who was like, I'm over these locks, and you decided to actually go ahead and cut them or comb them out, what was your experience like? I want to kind of get both of those different experiences in the comment section below, exchange information, and kind of help each other, guide each other as we're going through these kind of like weird spots in our lock journeys. Because I have a feeling that what I feel right now is not uncommon. I feel like it's very normal, and I think the thing that makes it different is just how people respond to these different emotions that they might feel along their lock journey. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time.